And welcome to your Monday review. So I can't really go anywhere because we're having like really horrible storms right now. So what I thought I would do is make a Monday review list of movies that I've never reviewed before. So the first one is Life with Mikey. Now I saw this when I was a kid. Um, I really enjoy it. Even to this day, I think it is a movie that is funny, outgoing. It's basically for everybody. Um, the cast is pretty good too. Um, I would say check it out. Definitely, it's definitely an eight. The Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. Now I don't understand why people didn't like this movie. I thought it was really funny. Um, I mean, basically you get an all-star cast in this movie. I don't understand why people didn't like it. I would give it a six, honestly. Um, The Page Master with Macaulay Culkin, Christopher Lloyd, Whoopi Goldberg, all star cast. Honestly, yes, it is kind of like an action animated movie, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. I would give that a nine, honestly. Um, the next one is He Man, the movie. And they are redoing it actually. There's going to be one in 2019, I guess. Um, Now, some people didn't like this, but I've actually recently watched it like twice. So I would say it could be much better, but I think that for that point in time when it was made, it really did a lot of good things. I would give it a seven. The Super Mario Brothers movie is the next one. Um, Now, I understand that hardcore fans like me were kind of disappointed, but I think they could redo it now and make it really good. Um, my only problem with it was yeah, the plot was not very good. I would give it like probably a 6.2 on my scale as far as good. Um, Hang on here. Double Dragon. I actually like that movie. Alyssa Milano, that was one of her very first movies she was ever in before Charmed actually was popular. Um, I thought the movie had lots of great capability of becoming something good at the towards the end of it. Now I grew up playing the video games in the arcades on the Nintendo NES systems. I would say it's definitely a solid seven in my book. Um, a Kid in King Arthur's Court was another movie that I also grew up watching, and I think that it doesn't get as much credit as being a good movie as it should. I think it was very funny. Um, so I would give it probably a five. Um, After that is Alvin and the Chipmunks. Um, Now I grew up with the cartoon series. What do I think about the 3D movies? I don't think they're too terrible, but also think that they've made too many of them at this point. I think that we kind of need a little bit of a break from it. But I do like them. I probably would give them an 8, honestly, from the ones that I've seen. The next one is Scooby Doo 1 and 2. Now, I think those are great movies, honestly. The cast in those did Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, uh, Seth Green, for example, Alicia Silverstone. Um, I like those movies, honestly. As you can see, I'm a Scooby Doo fan, anyways. In some of my other videos, I have my Scooby Doo hat on. So, yeah, I would give it probably a solid nine, honestly, for both movies. I know they're talking about doing another one recently. Go ahead, do it. I mean, I'm a fan, anyways. I'd watch it. So, where are we at now? The Secret Garden, honestly. Okay, so I grew up with the book. And I've seen the play. The movie is actually very good. I watched it when I was growing up as a kid, and I still like it now. I would say that's probably a solid 9 on my scale. It's definitely a very well produced movie. Um, Hang on here. Homeward Bound, 1 and 2, I think are great Disney movies from the '90s. Uh, Lots of great voiceovers for the characters. I mean, those are movies that I grew up watching with my friends, and we always liked it. Uh, Fern Gully is another movie that I also grew up watching. Robin Williams does voiceovers for the Bat in that. Tone Loc does the voice for the Lizard. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think who plays the villain in that movie. Tim Curry, that's the other person. Yeah, I like that movie, honestly. I think it's definitely something that everybody could enjoy watching. Um, the next one is, next two, I'm sorry, are two of my favorite movies from the '90s, Free Willy 1 and 2. The third one is okay, but it's not as good as the first two, honestly. The first two, really had great uh, CGI stuff in it earlier. The storylines are pretty good. Yeah, I really like those movies, honestly, even to this day. I would give it probably a solid, well, let's say a solid 7.5 for both movies. Um, Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis. I liked that movie a lot. I could watch it um, a lot, anyways. I also played the video game when I was a kid. Yeah, I think that those are pretty good. Pretty good. Um, Aladdin. Here we go. Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie ever made, as far as I'm concerned. Robin Williams voices the genie. Yeah, it is a really great Disney movie for any kid to watch. Even adults can enjoy it now. So, what I would give a dude, honestly, Aladdin, dude, dudes, 10, freaking 10. I love Aladdin. I could watch it over and over again and laugh. Um, where are we at now? The Three Musketeers. That is a movie that I love from the '90s. Great comedy, great action. The cast is amazing. Um, it's just a movie everybody could watch and enjoy together. Um, and then I don't know, like I just think that it's one of those movies that, as time went on, it just became better to watch. Um, I would give that a 10 too. I think that's a good movie too. Um, okay, so that's the first list. I have two. So the next one is Peter Rabbit. It's a more modern movie, but I actually had an opportunity to watch it. I want to say it was like late last night, I believe. Um, yeah, it's okay. But see, I grew up with like the animated movie from like the '80s, so I would give this movie probably a 6. Honestly, it's not something that I probably would want to watch again, but I just wanted to review it. So, Three Ninjas. Three Ninjas. Honestly, all three movies I thought were fairly good. I mean, Hulk Hogan, I think, is in one of them, I believe, as well. And I think there's another guy that's was a former wrestler that was in this too. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that Three Ninjas was another action movie from for kids in the '90s that I think the series was fairly good. I would give it a solid 7, honestly, for all three movies. Um, Puss in Boots. Now I went to the theater and I saw the movie. I took my niece actually to go see it. We both liked it. We thought it was really funny when we went to go see it. She really enjoyed it. And I wasn't really sure what to think of it when I first went to see it, but after I've seen it a few times, I really enjoy it. Um, I would say that that's probably a solid 8. Um, Kung Fu Panda. I think the first two are really good, but past that, I don't think that they should have been making anymore, because you can't really continue with the story. Honestly, um, the first two are really good though, and I would give both those probably a solid 8. Um, Jack and the Beanstalk, which is I think it's either a DreamWorks movie or it might be Pixar. I think it's DreamWorks. Um, I thought the storyline was pretty good, honestly. I mean, I grew up with the cartoon one from like the early '80s and '90s, uh, but I think it was something that everybody could enjoy. Um, so I would say probably a 6. Yeah. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. Those are amazing movies, honestly. Those are movies that I could continue to watch now and enjoy. I heard that they're making a fourth one. Um, I would give all those movies 10s in my book. Toy Story is freaking amazing, honestly. Cars 1, 2, and 3. Again, I think that those are movies that everybody could enjoy. They're funny. They have great action scenes in them. Yes, they are Pixar movies, but who cares? They're still pretty good. Um, I would give those a solid 9 in my book. Um, Surf Ninjas with Rob Snyder and Leslie Nielsen. Um, I really enjoy Surf Ninjas to this day. I think it's one of the best movies ever made from the 90s. I know some people think it's kind of cheesy and stuff, but I still laugh when I watch it and stuff. Street Fighter, Jean Claude Van Damme. I don't know any of the other actors in it. That movie is well, yeah, we're not gonna get into it. I grew up playing the games though. I enjoy the games a lot more than I did the movie. The movie's probably gonna get a horrible rating by me, and I'm gonna get heat for it. I'm gonna say a 3.6. It's not very good. Um, I'm gonna say that okay, yeah, we're just gonna move on because that's a horrible movie. Um, Losing track of my space here. Hang on. Yogi Bear, which is actually not a bad movie. Dan Aykroyd is voiceover for Yogi. Um, I took my niece again to go see that movie, and she loved it. I believe Amy Smart is in it too. Yeah, I think Amy Smart. I might have that wrong though. I might have to look it up. I think it's Amy Schumer maybe. It's either one. I can't remember which one it was, but I think that movie was fairly decent. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I would say it's probably a 7 on my Richter scale. Um, it's something I probably would watch again. Um, Now we're gonna get into the Smurf movies. So I think probably the first two are probably the best ones. I did watch the Lost. I think it's the Lost Village or something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Um, I'll say the first two are my favorites. I think that those were the ones that were had the best storylines to them, and had more humor to them. I would give those probably a solid 8. Um, Richie Rich, which is my favorite Macaulay Culkin movie other than The Pagemaster. Um, which I wonder what Macaulay Culkin's doing now. I don't know. Does anybody know? Anybody heard from him? Richie Rich is funny. It's very outgoing. Um, Let me think here. I would give that one a 9. I like Richie Rich, honestly. That's really good. The next one is Hop, which Hop on Pop. Um, so Jay Wilkins 79 reviewed that movie, and I was like, well, maybe I'll check it out and see if it's good or not. Uh, I would say it is kind of average. I would say probably a 6.5 ish on my Richter scale. Yeah, let's go with that. The next one is Lost and Found with David Spade. Um, I really enjoy Lost and Found. I think it was a very funny comedy for him. I think that it really progressed his acting capabilities. I would give that a solid 9, honestly. That's one of my favorite movies by him. Um, the next one is Mr. Nanny, which I actually like that movie. Some people thought it was terrible, and I'm like, why? It's actually not a bad movie. Um, I mean, it is kind of corny and cheesy, but nah, it's what do you expect? I would give that probably a solid 7. The next one is Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Um, so the Mortal Kombat movies I think are fairly decent with action. CGI at that point I think was just starting to kind of get to where it needed to be. Um, However, I do think that they could do more with it now. I would say redo it and definitely try to do a little bit more with it. Um, what would I rate it? Probably an 8. I would say both movies are about an 8. Um, Trying to think here if there's any other on here. Journey to the Center of the Earth. So they've redone that a few times, but I've seen like think two of them. The one from the 90s, and I believe I saw the one from the early 2000s. Um, I don't think those are too terrible, but I do think the last one had a little too much CGI effects to it. I think they could have laid off of it a little bit, honestly. Um, I would give both movies a solid 6, I would think, yes. So, Beethoven 1 and 2, I know they made like 3 or 4 of them, I think, but honestly, the first two were my favorite two. I think that those are two movies that, even to this time, are still very, very well written. Very much so. Lots of 90s culture stuff in it, and I would really enjoy it. I could still watch both of them. I think that they're really good, honestly. Um, I would rate both of them probably at like an 8, I would say. Um, Mrs. Doubtfire, which is my favorite Robin Williams movie of all times. Sally Field is in it as well. I'm trying to think who else is in it. I can't remember some of the other actors. Um, I really enjoyed that movie, honestly. Yeah, it is by far one of the best Robin Williams movies ever made. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. You were very much so missed in film, and I always enjoyed your work. I think that you were an amazing actor, honestly. Um, I would absolutely give that movie a 10 in my book. It is something that every person needs to watch at least once. Um, the next one on here is Hercules. Hercules with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Um, That is definitely a movie that I really enjoyed. I thought that they did a great job with it. He really plays a great Hercules. Um, and I totally would give that movie a 10. I think it's definitely worth it. Um, so that is your Monday review. So I will get back to you probably in a few days with some more videos. Um, I just got kind of bored this morning, so I was like, well, I might as well just make a video. So everybody have a wonderful day. It's really rainy here, and it's gonna get up into the 80s. So everybody enjoy your day.